Kodak Black just dropped a bombshell on livestream, and the internet is losing it right now. If you thought you'd heard it all from this wild card, think again. Kodak just confessed to something that's got the whole world talking. During a recent livestream, he stunned fans when he openly admitted to something major. He's never sober. Yep, you heard that right. Kodak Black, the Florida rapper known for his hit songs and even bigger controversies, says he's been living his life in a constant state of intoxication. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Oh, here we go again," let's break this down. Kodak wasn't just casually mentioning that he likes to party. This was a full-on revelation that left fans scratching their heads and asking, what does this mean for him? The confession came out of nowhere, with Kodak casually dropping it while interacting with fans on his live stream. But just like his music, this confession hit hard, leaving people to wonder how this could affect his image. Now, for those of you who may not fully be caught up on Kodak's past, let's quickly refresh your memory. The rapper has made headlines for his wild antics, run-ins with the law, and of course, his music. From his early days as a teenager with raw talent to his breakthrough hits like Tunnel Vision and Zaza, Kodak's been a constant fixture in the rap scene. But it hasn't been all sunshine and success. Kodak's reputation is tied to a long list of legal troubles, including a prison sentence, controversy surrounding his behavior, and more recently, his struggle with substance abuse. So when Kodak dropped this bomb about never being sober, it wasn't exactly a huge surprise to some fans. Many had speculated about his struggles with substance abuse for years, especially after noticing patterns in his erratic behavior and the lyrics in his music. But hearing him admit it outright, that's a whole different level of realness. Now, people are questioning what this admission means for Kodak's future. Is this a cry for help? A moment of vulnerability? Or just another stunt in his ongoing Kodak being Kodak saga? Either way, his confession is shifting the conversation around his persona. And let's be real, this is just the beginning of a whole new chapter in the drama that is Kodak Black's life. To fully understand why this confession is so wild and what it really means, we need to take a deep dive into the history that led to this moment. And trust me, it's a lot to unpack. For years, Kodak has been at the center of controversy. From his legal battles to his public outburst, this man has been anything but a model of stability. But behind all the drama, there's a deeper, darker side to Kodak's story. One that includes addiction struggles, mental health battles, and a history of self-destructive behavior. And it's all intertwined with his rise to fame. Let's start with his past. Kodak has had a rough journey, and anyone who's followed his career knows it's been full of ups, downs, and legal hurdles. From his days as a teenager in the rough streets of Florida to becoming a platinum-selling rapper, Kodak's success has often been overshadowed by his bad decisions. He's faced a laundry list of legal charges, including weapons possession and assault, and has spent time in prison. Most recently, he was pardoned by former President Trump after serving time for federal gun charges. But despite the glimmer of freedom, it was clear to fans and critics alike that his life outside prison wasn't exactly clean. Then there's the matter of his substance use. While Kodak hasn't been as open about his struggles with drugs and alcohol as other stars have, the signs have always been there. His erratic behavior, strange rants on social media, and even his music all pointed to the possibility that he was battling something behind the scenes. Many fans have long speculated that his wild antics were linked to a deeper issue with substance abuse. And let's not forget the fact that his music often touches on themes of escaping reality, using drugs, and dealing with the chaos in his life. His 2018 hit The Code even referenced him feeling like he was stuck in a daze, a clear nod to the numbing effects of his lifestyle.
It felt like jungle fever, singing to my baby like I'm Justin Bieber.
So when Kodak admitted he's never sober, it wasn't out of nowhere. It almost felt like an unspoken truth finally being brought to light. His confession makes sense when you look at his behavior over the years. The man has been open about his struggles in his lyrics and interviews, but this was the first time he truly acknowledged it publicly. It was like a confession wrapped in vulnerability, no longer trying to hide behind the wild rapper persona. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't just about Kodak's substance use. It's also tied to his mental health. Kodak has opened up about his emotional battles and his feelings of isolation. Many have speculated that his erratic actions are tied to deeper issues, whether it's anxiety, depression, or trauma from his difficult upbringing. And let's be real, we all know that being in the public eye only exacerbates those pressures. But here's the kicker. Despite all the chaos, Kodak has an undeniable bond with his fans. Through it all, they've stuck by him. His authenticity in his struggles resonates with them, especially since he's often painted as a misunderstood figure in the industry. Some fans see him as a product of his environment, a man struggling to cope with the weight of fame, expectations, and his demons. So, what does all of this mean for Kodak's future? Is this confession his way of asking for help? Or is it just another one of those Kodak being Kodak moments where he's pushing the boundaries of what we expect from him? One thing is for sure, this is far from the end of the story. But here's the real question. Can Kodak Black turn this confession into something meaningful for his career and personal life? Or is this the moment that people start to look at him differently? Let's talk about that next, because the public's reaction is about to shake things up. Kodak Black really got the internet talking with that confession. You'd think the whole world had been waiting for him to admit what many fans already suspected. But the real drama came with the reactions. The internet is split right down the middle. Some are worried about him, others are all for it, and there's a whole lot of judgment in between. This isn't just a celebrity's confession, it's a window into how we, as a society, view addiction, mental health, and the responsibility of public figures. Let's start with the fans. As always, they are the loudest voices in the room. On one hand, you've got a group of supporters who are praising Kodak for being real. He's finally being honest, they say. So many people hide behind their fame and pretend everything's perfect. They argue that something is refreshing about him admitting that he's not perfect. After all, aren't we all struggling with something? These fans are standing by him, saying, let Kodak live his truth. In their eyes, this confession makes him more relatable. He's no longer just a rapper with a crazy past. He's a real person who's been through it and is speaking out. But then, of course, you've got the other side, the critics. And oh boy, are they loud. Some fans are shocked and concerned for Kodak's well-being. This is a cry for help, they're saying. It's not something to brag about. These folks are worried about his mental health, and they're calling for him to get help. They're not just criticizing him for his confession. They're saying it's a dangerous lifestyle, especially for someone in the public eye. How can we support an artist who openly admits to being on substances all the time, they ask? What message does that send to younger fans? And let's not forget about the other celebrities and influencers who chimed in. While Kodak's peers haven't exactly been vocal about his confession, you know how the internet works. People are talking. Some celebrities have been quick to defend him, while others have remained silent, choosing not to comment on his struggles. But can you imagine that some are probably wondering, how does this affect Kodak's career? Kodak's confession has ignited a debate about mental health and substance abuse in the celebrity world. How many stars out there are dealing with the same struggles, but choosing to stay silent? Are we too quick to judge people who struggle with addiction? Or do they deserve tough love to kick their habits? Kodak's confession is just one part of a much larger conversation about the pressures of fame, the toll it takes on mental health, and the expectations that come with it. The question now is, what does this confession do to Kodak's image? Let's start with the obvious. Kodak Black is no stranger to controversy. His career has been marked by legal struggles, outbursts, and moments that make you go, what in the world? But this is different. This confession adds a layer of vulnerability to his already complex persona. On one hand, it humanizes him. He's no longer just a wild, unpredictable rapper who makes headlines for his bizarre behavior. Now, he's a man admitting to being trapped in a cycle of substance abuse, something that's more relatable than many of us care to admit. While this confession could soften his image with fans who've seen him as a troubled soul, it could also harm his brand, especially in an industry that often rewards perfection over authenticity. This isn't the first time we've seen a celebrity admit to substance abuse, but in Kodak's case, it's hard to ignore the complicated history that comes with his public persona. For years, he's been in and out of trouble, with a laundry list of legal issues that's followed him like a shadow. So, will people view this as a cry for help? Or will they just chalk it up to Kodak being Kodak and move on? What this confession does is force people to ask whether we're too quick to judge celebrities for their struggles. We all know Hollywood loves a comeback story. And let's be real, when Kodak Black decides to turn his life around, and we're all hoping he does, the media will eat it up. Redemption arcs are a thing after all. So, is this the first step toward a Kodak Black redemption tour? Will fans rally behind him? Not just because of his music, but because he's finally being real with them. But let's not forget that this confession brings to light a much bigger issue: substance abuse in the entertainment industry, and especially in the hip-hop world. The truth is that addiction is rampant among public figures, and there's a disturbing culture of keep it moving that prevents these stars from getting help the way they need. Kodak's admission isn't just about him. It's a reflection of the toxic pressures and unhealthy coping mechanisms that many celebrities face. The difference is that Kodak's being honest about it, and that honesty, as much as it may shock some people, could be the key to breaking the stigma that surrounds addiction in the public eye. In the long run, Kodak's confession may very well be a turning point in how we see celebrities and their battles with addiction. Will it be his downfall or his rise to something bigger than music? Can he use this moment of vulnerability to show the world that growth is possible, even for someone with such a messy past? Here's what I know for sure. Kodak Black's journey is far from over. Whether you love him, hate him, or just want him to get the help he needs, his story is far from finished. The question is, how will he handle the fallout from this confession? Will he use it as fuel for change? Or will it just become another headline in his unpredictable, tumultuous career? At the end of the day, Kodak's confession isn't just about substance abuse. It's about the power of being real in a world that constantly demands perfection. And maybe, just maybe, his honesty will be the start of something bigger than just a rapper's career. So, what do you think? Is Kodak Black's shocking confession the beginning of a major transformation? Or is it just another chapter in his saga of chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from over.